Chess is a two-player strategy-based game. The game was created around 6th century AD and has been played by millions over time. The game is played on a square board with 64 squares on an 8x8 grid. Each player starts the game with 16 pieces and aims to capture the opponent's king piece first. Doing so results in a victory for the player. However, this task is much easier said than done, as a game of chess can become extremely deep and competitive. With a good understanding of the role of each piece and a little strategy, you will be well on your way to outsmarting your opponents and becoming the envy of all your peers. The pawn is the most prevalent piece in the game. Each player starts with 8 pawns. Pawns have the ability to move one space forward or one space diagonally if they are capturing an opponent's piece. A promotion, a game mechanic unique to pawns, occurs once a pawn has reached the end of a player's board. The pawn can then be sacrificed in exchange for any other fallen piece, such as a queen or rook. Pawns are one of the most prominent chess pieces, and their placements in a game will greatly influence the outcome of any game. Cherish the pawns. Each player begins with 2 rooks. These pieces are located on the corners of the board. They can move horizontally or vertically as many spaces as they want. Rooks are actually considered to be the second most powerful piece on the board. They can cover many spaces on the board regardless of color. The knight is a horse-shaped piece. It has a distinctive ability to move in an L-shaped pattern consisting of 3 spaces adjoined by a 4th space. Interestingly, this allows it to be the only piece that can hop over other pieces. Its starting position is set up adjacent to the rook pieces. Shaped like a tall, skinny pawn, bishops are placed between the knight and king-queen pieces. Players start with 2 bishops, each placed on a different colored square. Bishops cannot move off their starting colors, so it is important to keep each alive. They move diagonally as many spaces as they want. The queen is the most powerful piece. The queen combines the powers of the rook and bishop together, which allows her to move diagonally or orthogonally in any direction. The king is the highest ranking piece in the game. Kings can move one space in any direction as long as it doesn't put the piece in check. Check is a chess term referring to the king when he is threatened by another piece. Checkmates occur once a player has successfully managed to capture the king piece, thus ending the game. The king is typically never used as a fighting piece due to its importance and lack of range. As you play opponents of varying skill levels, you may quickly learn how difficult and intense the game can become. We'll highlight a few techniques a player can use to boost their chances of winning. Forking, or sometimes called a split move, is a move that can be used to threaten multiple pieces. A single piece can guarantee a kill if the opponent isn't careful. It creates a situation they cannot ignore and must choose to protect a specific piece while leaving the other open for a capture. Here, we see because of the poor choices from the opponent, this pawn is guaranteed a capture. Let's cover something a bit more basic and fundamental. Learning to control the center is one of the most critical chess strategies to follow. Arguably, the center is the most important area of the board. Control over the center means easier mobility for your other pieces and access to the rest of the board. Examine how the black pieces have set up their defense. The knights have lots of mobility and the pawns control key squares. Compared to the white pieces, the knights are limited in their movement and the pawns aren't occupying important spots. Well, that brings us to the end of our tutorial. Remember, the only goal each player has is to capture the king. Utilize the pieces you have and form your own strategies. With lots of experience and perseverance, you too can become a chess master. Thanks for watching.